Go.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the BALListic Report. I'm Corey Spivey, and I'm here with.
Taylor Moore.
Tonight is a big night in college football. We've reached through COVID, through all the things that have gone on, the ups and downs of this season. So many things have gone on, but now we're here to the granddaddy of them all, the college football championship. We're gonna preview the game that's coming on at 7 o'clock tonight. Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Ohio State Buckeyes. What's your raw feeling of how this game goes, man?
Man, for some reason, I thought it was going to be close at first, but I feel like it'll probably be a high scoring game. Or just the fact that you don't know which offensive player is going to show up tonight. Coming from Alabama side, they could potentially be having Jalen Waddle come back, which through the first 4 games of the season, he averaged around 100 yards or so, just within 4 games before he injured his ankle. So man, so I can't even imagine having Waddle on one side and then having Devontae Smith on the other side, and then you have Najee Harris in the backfield running the ball. So I think that if Ohio State cannot contain Alabama's offense, then Ohio State offense will have a lot of time on the field as well. So it can be like a back and forth game, I think. What you
Right.
think?
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I think it's going to be a really fast-paced game. You got two offenses that are really exciting to watch when they're at work. You spoke a little bit about Jalen Waddle. He's going to be a game time decision. With all the hype that's leading up, this being his last game, I think he's going to get out there and play. The signs are showing that he will, which just kind of puts another piece for the Ohio State defense to kind of figure out how they're going to do this. I do know that Ohio State going against the rush defensively, they're second in the nation. So they're a team that's very familiar with stopping the run game. They did really good against Clemson last week. 2 weeks ago was a game that kind of shocked a lot of people. So I expect this to be a fast-paced game. I expect it to be very exciting. I'm right there with you as far as scoring. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. Um, you know, with college football, it's kind of difficult to predict sometimes. You got games where Notre Dame is being hyped up. They come in and they get the doors blown off of them by Alabama. You got a game, everybody's thinking it's going to be this rematch of Alabama and Clemson, and Clemson just can't get there. But I think this is going to be one of those games that's going to come down to who's going to have enough heart. Justin Fields is a guy that he's coming off of an injury. How do you see him faring off in this game?
Well, from an offensive coordinator perspective, I mean, for the most part, just trying to think my way through it. I would try to get Justin Fields going outside the pocket. So maybe like some play action here and there, and also trying to utilize like the running back as much as possible because Trey Sermon has been very effective over these past couple games. So hopefully they can utilize him just to take the pressure off of Justin Fields. And I also feel like they'll try to spread the field out some just to keep Alabama's defense guessing. So that's the best way I think to protect Justin Fields. But also, if Justin Fields starts running, for a few yards or so, then hey, I hope he learns how to slide so he won't hurt himself against Alabama team. Alabama's defense. Once they get to you, hey, you can easily get roughed up. So, what
Yeah.
do you think about that?
Very true. Yeah, Justin Fields, he's coming off of one of the best games of his career. Coming out of the last season, the regular season at least, he kind of dropped off in that last game and then the Big Ten championship. But then he came out and I thought he had a really good performance against Clemson. He's a guy that I've been rooting for all along for some reason. He's a tough guy. He's powerful. He's quick. He's sometimes very unpredictable. But coming off of that injury, I'm expecting him to come out and be a little timid. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I'm expecting him to try to be, protecting that side. And so I expect him to come out, maybe start second guessing, start seeing some goals trying to protect himself. But I think after, maybe that first or second drive, I think he's really going to get comfortable. I think he's going to open this thing up and start to have a really, really good game. It's really going to depend on how this defense of Alabama can really fare up throughout the entire game because offensively, Ohio State is a team you've got to stick with for 4 quarters. And that Alabama defense is very disciplined, as every defense by Nick Saban is. So Justin Fields is also going to have his work cut out for him. But I think once he gets comfortable if they use him right, if he can get over the injury and realize that a lot is on the line for his NFL career, I think it's a game that he can come out and play very well in. So as we switch gears to Alabama offense, how do you see them coming out? Who do you see being an impact player? Um, how do you see them going out in this game?
Man, for this season, man, Mac Jones and Devontae Smith, man, their relationship has grew each game. It seemed like uh, they're constantly connecting on passes each game. So I definitely see them probably having between for probably for Devontae Smith, probably have anywhere between 8 to 10 targets. Uh, and man, and really, that's just just like a low number just to start off. But we potentially have maybe 10 to 15, just depending on how the game is going. But the thing about Alabama is that they have to have a good running game, and they always base their offense from running the game. And so far throughout the season, it seems like no one has been able to stop Najee Harris. So I feel like they'll definitely try to pound the ball, here and there, just to get the offense rolling. But as soon as they get Najee going, it's time to get Devontae Smith the ball here and there. And also, just in case Jalen Waddle gets in the game, it makes it even tougher for Ohio State's defense. But I think once they get the running game rolling, then that's when the wide receivers be able to get in on the action too as well.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that too. I think Ohio State's going to be coming off of a lot of adrenaline, trying to show that they got a lot to prove with all the hype that's been coming into them, all the criticism with the season that they've had. But I think they're well deserving of being here. But I think because of Alabama trying to keep that identity of being a tough, hard-nosed team. They're a team that's been on the outside looking in as far as championships for the last 2 seasons, and they're looking to get back on the proverbial mountaintop, right? So I think that Alabama defense, as disciplined as they are, once again, I think they're going to be coming after Justin Fields early. I think Mac Jones, on the other hand, is going to be exactly the same. I think they're going to come after him quick, and I think he's going to be a guy that's going to have to be able to keep his composure when they're coming after him, because I think early they're going to try to put him on the ground. They're going to put him on the ground often, and if they can't sack him, he's going to have to at least be able to try to get out of the pocket and extend some plays. So that's the question that I have. Can he extend the plays? Can he find Justin Waddle? Can he find Devontae Smith? Because if he can find Devontae Smith is a guy that can really rip you up. And I think that he will do that. I think he's going to be a problem for this Ohio State defense, as good as they are. But early in the game, I'm right there with you. Najee Harris is going to have to get going quick. And if he can be a guy that can find some open gaps beyond the line of scrimmage, I think he can create some opportunities to completely open this thing up. So with all of that said, before we do our picks, do you feel like Ohio State was a team that deserved to be here with only playing 6 games and starting off late?
Man, honestly, okay, so man, so I'll say before the playoffs start, I would say no. Just the fact that it's other teams from different conferences who may have played 8, 9, even 10 games throughout the season and were undefeated and actually had a lot of blowout games. And just the fact that Ohio State only had like a 6-game schedule, you know, but the thing that although they were undefeated, it's just the fact that hey, you have other teams that also prepared more, and also had more of a challenge. Just the fact that hey, we're still dealing with this pandemic too as well. But it's the fact that they were able to go through 8, 9, 10 games and still go undefeated. I think that's something you have to take into consideration. But at the same time, when you look at the different conferences, when it comes to the NCAA, you have the SEC, the Big Ten, pretty much for the most part stands out among like the top 5 conferences within the NCAA. So that's why I think that at the end of the day, just the fact that Ohio State did make it the previous year, it's kind of like a shoe-in for them at this point. If they win all the games, or regardless of how many other they play. So that's how I kind of see it. What you think?
Yeah, I was kind of indifferent when things first started off, because from a technical perspective, I don't think that they should have been there, because that rule that they put in place, you got to play enough games to get in. and they just didn't meet the requirement. So, but on the flip side of that, it's a COVID year and all the rules are being bent. I think they were well deserving of being there. As I was saying earlier, they were a team that may not have had enough games to show, going up against some of the other teams. But, you hear guys like Dabo Sweeney ranking them like ninth or 11th overall. And I think they took that personal. And so they got out and they showed that they were a potent team. They were very powerful. They had a lot of good guys, a lot of key players. They were one of the best four teams in the college football playoff. And I think that they are well deserving of that. I think they're a team that comes out and they try to ride that. But as we go into our picks, that's where I have this split decision, and we have this head versus heart thing that we did in the past. What is your head versus heart pick of how this game turns out and your prediction?
Man, so my head pick probably say 45-41. So I'm kind of thinking there's gonna be a shootout, man, because just looking at the players for the night, we're probably looking at maybe 4 to 5, maybe 6 first round draft picks. Man, so I feel like everyone will kind of have a chance to kind of showcase their skills tonight. But at the same time, just the fact of these teams don't really play that often too as well. So that's just the fact that I think just that everyone's gonna come out shooting. But also, just the way Ohio State has been playing too as well. You don't know which team you're gonna face because against Clemson, it looks like they can beat anyone. But I'll say 45-41 for Alabama, just because I can't go against the SEC. Man, Nick Saban, when he came to Alabama, they had a couple low seasons. Other than that, man, it's hard to beat them.
Yeah.
Man, so you have to really, make no mistakes when you're taking on Alabama. You have to take advantage of the playing field. So I have to go for Alabama as my head pick, but a hard pick. If the defense show up on both sides, I can see possibly 28-24 Alabama still. But if the defense show up, I can see it being 28-24.
Right.
What about you?
So you're going Alabama both ways, huh?
Yeah.
So I'm split. My heart pick says OSU pulls this one out 31-28. And my heart is saying that from the perspective of I think Ohio State is running off more adrenaline than Alabama is. Because they've been, again, Alabama has been on the outside for the last 2 years, but I think Ohio State has been on the outside, for the last 4 or 5 years, since the last time that they won it. They felt like they've been snubbed and they weren't able to kind of show their full potential. Last year they were right there with Clemson until, that 130 hit, and then Trevor Lawrence shoots one up the gap, and then it seemed like the whole game was over after those 2 plays. But I think that my heart pick says OSU pulls this one out 31-28 from the perspective of, like you said, if they can go out and minimize mistakes, and if Justin Fields is 100% and does not mentally let that injury get over him. But my head pick, looking at the analytics and the statistics and the overall portfolio, says Alabama dominates this one 42-24. And I think they get those last few 24 points late because Alabama let their foot off the gas. But
I hope it's not a blowout though, man. We need a good game, man. I hope it's not a blowout.
I think it will be a good game. But if the blowout comes, I think it's going to be in Alabama's favor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely so.
I think the worst case scenario is that Justin Fields may get hurt, man. Maybe, man, like in that first or second quarter, and then that's the game.
Yeah.
That's my worst case scenario. I hope it doesn't happen, man. But that's what I'm kind of thinking. That if anything, they can kind of throw the whole game.
Yeah, you definitely want to knock on wood for that. But yeah, if he goes down, they're in trouble, and I think it'll get ugly really quick. And I think it'll probably be over, first quarter, halftime, if not sooner. It'll get really ugly if he's not in there. But nevertheless, like we said, I think it'll be a good game. We appreciate you all joining us for our first look into college football at the granddaddy of them all, as we said, the college football playoff, the college football championship. Taylor's picking Alabama both ways. I'm split. We both think that Alabama is well qualified to win this game. We appreciate your support as always. Continue to subscribe and continue to pass this video on to your family, to your friends. And as always, follow us on Instagram at Ballistic Report Sports. We appreciate you all and enjoy the game tonight.
All right, y'all.